What's up, baby?
How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. So nice to have you back here. It's such a nice, like, seamless transition from me just to, split screen. I feel like there's always some Wi-Fi issue, but we got that. We're set. Also, I'm loving the background. Perfect for what we're talking about.
That's funny. Fuck, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yes.
I have like a little keyboard in the background somewhere, but I should have probably placed it in the shot to make.
Where's your keyboard? You should just put it right behind your head.
I know, I should. It's like off in the corner, but next time I will. So yeah, hi everyone. Today we are with Tatiana, and we're going to be talking all about music NFTs. NFTs in general, what music NFTs look like. And as a musician yourself who's into NFTs, I'm really excited to hear about your perspective, and got some questions to ask. If you have any questions in the meantime, drop them in the chat, and make sure you're following at TDM Crypto, you're following at CoinDesk, and that you're dropping likes and comments. And if you want to send gifts also, that's always fun. Always love to get some sunglasses across my face. But yeah, should we just get right into it?
Let's do it. I just thought of pulling something up, and then but yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I think we can just start with the basics. Define what a non-fungible token is. Yeah.
It's so funny, isn't it? Because I feel like for the whole year we've been making videos being like, a non-fungible token is, but there's what I love about crypto is there's still so many people coming to the space. So we're like, non-fungible token, let's go. Basically, a non-fungible token is a non-fungible asset, and fungible meaning replicable. So I know that there might be some newbies in here as well, because I've seen a couple from my Instagram, but essentially, just to break this down, if Ethereum is a blockchain, which it is, a blockchain is kind of like a country, right? It's a whole ecosystem. So it's like the US, and the dollar is like ETH. Each cryptocurrency has its own blockchain. So ETH is the cryptocurrency of Ethereum, and that's one big thing. But in the US, there's like loads of theme parks around the US. And when you go to a theme park, sometimes you change those dollars into tokens so you can go on the rides. And that's very similar. Every kind of app on Ethereum that does its thing has tokens which you use. And that's what tokens are essentially. They're like these assets that you can kind of spend and that have digital monetary value to a degree on a blockchain. But when they're non-fungible, it means you can't replicate them. So let's say you're at the fun fair or you're at the Six Flags and you're spending all these tokens. All the tokens are the same, but then you get one which is like the only one in the whole theme park in the whole world. There's only one of its kind, and you can't replicate it because it was, I don't know, Picasso decided to fucking paint on it, and you were like, wow, look what I found. This is amazing. And everyone's like, wow, it's the only one that exists. You're like, yeah, and you can't replicate it. This is the only one. That's basically a non-fungible token as a metaphor for token on blockchains. So yeah, that's kind of metaphor for it.
I mean, that's a great analogy. I think thinking about it in terms of this whole ecosystem as this world, and this, the native token as the currency, and, the different tokens you can use that are, non-exchangeable. It's one of a kind. It can't be traded for anything else. I guess a follow-up to that, why do you think that they got so popular in 2021? Because, we had seen crypto start to take off over the past couple of years beforehand, but then, NFTs had always been around. Well, not always been around, since 2017, they've been very much a thing, but they didn't really get actually popular until this past year. So why do you think that is?
Is my internet shit? Because you're chopping out a bit, but I don't know if it's mine.
Maybe, you know what? It could be mine. Let me, okay, we're back now. I think it's probably okay. But if I have problems, I can try to fix that. Yeah, I think it's okay.
So I think a big part of why NFTs exploded in 2021. Oh yeah, okay. So I think a big part of why NFTs exploded in 2021 was, yeah, you frozen. People, am I frozen? Or is
Wait, okay, frozen? 1 second. I'll be right back.
It's my internet. Fuck. My shit says green, River. Let me try this.
Okay, I should be on the Wi-Fi now. Is that better?
Okay, I moved as well, just in case.
Okay,
let's see. What's up, fam?
Perfect.
Oh, apparently my internet was good. What did you do? You put yourself on Wi-Fi?
I think I just was not on my Wi-Fi. I thought I was. Oops.
Okay.
Let me know again, everyone, if I cut
All
out.
good.
Apologies about that.
Okay,
yeah.
Here we go. I'm just getting settled. So basically, why did they blow up in 2021? And I would say that the reason they blew up in 2021 is because the main thing about NFTs in general is the fact that the entire world is moving to digital. So think about it like emails, right? Letters became emails. And the same thing is happening for everything in our world, right? Whether we like to admit it or not. So let's say you buy a house or a car, you get a contract for the house, you get a contract for the car. If you buy design a bag or a diamond bracelet from Cartier, you will get, what's up, River Crypto? You will get a certificate of authenticity. Yeah, you get a certificate of authenticity to say this asset is real. This is certification of this asset being real. Now, as things move to digital, pink slips for cars will become digital contracts, much like letters became emails. Certificates of authenticity, again, will be digital, but how can we authenticate them? And the way we authenticate them is by making non-fungible tokens. So essentially burning them into assets on a blockchain using cryptographic proof. So that's essentially, as the world moves to digital, we're going to see more and more NFTs. That's number one. Number two is coronavirus had us being a lot more indoors and using digital means anyway. So again, that amps it up. And then lastly, given that art and creativity has been so undervalued for so long, finding the opportunity for creative communities to find the opportunities to actually monetize again is huge. And as you can see, the thirst for it was so massive that it exploded across the board and is continuing to explode.
Yeah, no, those are all great points. I think specifically the last one you mentioned with, you know, giving artists more opportunities, that's kind of where we see music NFTs take off, and a lot more, you know, that's just kind of, I guess, where it's gone with that. Yeah, I guess so. In your definition, what is a music NFT, and what are some examples that you've seen or that, you know, people are creating?
I mean, I would say that the songs themselves, I mean, music itself never actually lost its value. If we think about it, look at Spotify. Spotify is making a fuck ton of money. Why? Yes, because it has quantity, but at the same time, it has quantity of something that has value. The difference is the artists aren't actually getting that revenue. Spotify is taking that revenue. So for example, you have to get 1 million plays on Spotify to get $3,600, which you spend touring for 2 days. So you have to get 1 million plays on Spotify just to pay to be on tour for 2 days. Like it's ridiculous. However, when you actually put your songs in movies, you get paid a lot more. When you put your songs in commercials, you get paid a lot more. Your songs end up actually finding pockets where they're valued. You can sell your music for a lot more. But streaming, essentially what happens is you're selling it through the lens of Spotify and through them essentially taking all the funds. So again, the value of music didn't disappear, but the value was diverted towards the companies running the streaming sites and not the artists. So what's amazing now is that when fans show up and fans are like, I like this artist, I want to buy this record, or I want to buy this NFT, I want to buy whatever. We want the fans' dollars to actually go to the musician so that the musician can make a living. The musician doesn't have to get 3 to 4 other jobs because they're not getting paid dick on Spotify. Because that's what's happening. A lot of musicians are getting extra jobs because they're not getting paid for their music, which means they have less time to create. They have less freedom to create. They feel like they have to create for an audience or be entrepreneurs or create 50,000 different things, pieces of content every day. But if musicians can actually make money from their music directly with the fans, and the fans' dollars can go directly to the artist creating more, we have a much more healthy economy. And again, artists can then have the time and the financial means to actually create and make more music. So we complain about music being shit, but it's like a lot of the artists don't have time to make music. They're trying to make a living. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's definitely a big part that, you know, comes back to this idea of decentralization and getting rid of the third party. I mean, you know, in this case, the streaming industry is such a big part of music, and it's this massive third party that really just wants to take profits. I remember there was a piece on CoinDesk that we turned into a TikTok about music NFTs in 2022, and a big part of it is eliminating that third party is going to be essential, and for people to kind of hop on that bandwagon and understand that they can have, you know, creative ownership over all of their work, and they're not going to be threatened by some company that's trying to take profits. That's going to be a huge part of what we'll see in the upcoming year. So yeah, is there any questions in your comment section? Anything about what we're talking about? I see some questions about some other random tokens, but I don't know if we'll get into it right now.
I love this guy, Logical LB. I've had 1 million views on TikTok, and TikTok paid me $50 LMA. I mean, that's it, right? In the end of the day, your life is the time you have on this planet. And when you spend all your time creating things that don't bring you financial return, you can't necessarily, it's not that you can't, but it's harder to have a fulfilling life without stress. So you end up looking for other means. And I think that creativity, when I was growing up, it was like money for the creative stuff. And I was like, you know, who needs money in creative? Let's just be musicians. And it's that thing of the world that business requires money, and creativity is just this fun thing. But actually, when society feels a frustration or a pain, music, visuals, but it starts with the music, actually amplifies the sense of a people. So songs tend to just reflect the times we're in. That's why you hear, even taking it back to John Lennon, for example. And what happens is that amplifies the voice of the people, essentially. And then what you get is movements, more momentum, and you get more momentum. People start changing their behaviors to corporations. Corporations then change their behaviors, and it ends up going to government. Government tends to be the last point in this entire chain to actually make change. Change happens with the people to begin with. I realize I'm getting a bit messy here, but you know what I'm saying? So yeah. And I didn't even answer any questions. I'm sorry.
I just saw a question that came up in the chat, actually. What music NFT platforms are actually viable at this point? Do you want to take that? Because I'm not really sure the answer to that.
Sure. It's an interesting one because I've been building an NFT platform with my tech company for a while now. We started in May, and it's coming soon. And I'm very excited. And the reason we've been building it is because in January of 2021, I wanted to mint some music NFTs. And the hard part is, if you do it, who collects royalties? How are the royalties collected? And that's not something that has been fully baked in yet. So Blau's Royal, for example, you can mint an NFT of a song, and they will manually collect royalties, for example, for anyone who buys NFTs of the royalties. So like Nas's song, they just launched that. You can buy NFTs, earn royalties on Nas's song. They will collect it and pay it out to the NFT holders. But when we just talked about how little you make in royalties on Spotify and how royalties are not generating much income, that doesn't excite me so much. So then we move to other sites like OpenSea. You can put music on it, you can sell it, but it's got so much other stuff on it. The music doesn't always get kind of attention, and it can be messy. Mintable, Rareable, all of these platforms. And then you have Maker's Place. You have, I'm talking about now places that have artists, but again, not focused on music. So it's like, okay, so you've got Royal with royalties, then you have Catalog, catalog.works, where you can actually mint your song, sell your song. There's a bunch of them out there that are, Catalog's pretty cool. There's rally.io. There are some platforms where you can mint and sell your songs. I personally haven't found one yet, other than the one we're building, which is coming soon, that as an artist hits everything I want to hit. So my real answer is our platform, I think, is the fucking best. But at the same time, it's not out yet. But the balance for me is making it great for the consumer and great for the artist. And right now there are some platforms that I think are close, but they charge astronomical amounts to the artists, and they're on kind of restrictive blockchains. So the ones I mentioned, feel free to have a look. But I do think that we have some space to go in this industry. And I think that I've taken meetings with a bunch of people working on similar things as well. So we'll see what we can come out with.
Yeah. That perfectly leads into my follow-up question. I guess, when you're talking about different blockchains that you should be minting on, I guess what's the process of minting a music NFT, and what blockchains should NFT artists who are making music mint on, we already kind of touched on platforms, but yeah, go through that process, you know, say I'm a musician and I want to mint an NFT.
You would basically, so an NFT is simply the file as is, but burnt into a non-fungible token or minted into a non-fungible token. So you would take your MP3 or your WAV file of your song, you would go over to your platform of choice. Now, some of them, for example, Blau's Royal, you actually have to go through an application to try and be a part of it. You can't just go mint on it, for example. So let's take a platform where you kind of can do that. I'm just going to use Solana as a simple example because it's quite a straightforward minting process. Solana or Ethereum, same thing. You would have your MP3 or your WAV file. You'd pick your platform. If it's Solana, you would want to have a Phantom wallet, some Solana in your wallet to pay the fees. You would go to Solana or SolC. SolC, I think, is actually pretty cool. Check that out. And then you would basically create a profile, connect this Phantom wallet that you've created. Now, it sounds random for any newbies, but for anyone in crypto, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Get yourself a crypto wallet, maybe a Phantom. It plugs into SolC nicely. Go to Coinbase, buy a Solana or a fraction of a Sol, send it to that Phantom wallet. Yes, crypto is not easy. I'm saying this out loud. Anyway, the point is,
well, you have
go to SolC.
Content already. I was just going to say, you have a lot of content already on crypto wallets, and we did a whole live stream back in November about security and privacy. Yeah. So, you know, if you're not following already, because I see some people who just joined, make sure you're following at TDM Crypto, following at CoinDesk, and dropping comments, giving some likes. Yeah, let's continue what you were saying.
All right, awesome. And to back that up as well, go follow CoinDesk. Awesome content. And feel free to double tap that screen, guys, and get these likes up so we can share this live with more people. Double tap that screen, baby. Awesome. So yeah. So basically you'd basically just take your WAV file, you'd find a piece of cover art for it as a JPEG, for example, and those are the only assets you really need. That and a description of what your track is. That's kind of how simple. Now the process of going and having a crypto wallet, that's all stuff I break down on my profile, so feel free to have a look. But you'd essentially need your MP3 or your WAV, a cover photo, a description. You go to SolC, you set up your profile, and then you go to create, and it gives you the simplest form. And you basically upload the MP3 or the WAV file, upload the artwork, fill in the description, and then you press mint. And when you press mint, it's basically gonna use some of that Solana in your Phantom wallet to pay for the minting. And then that's it, you're done. And from there, you just point to your fans or your community and you basically say, go buy it.
Very nice.
And if people,
what would I guess if you weren't using Solana or another blockchain, how would that process differ? Is it just simple as using a different coin to mint it? Or, you know, what are the other steps involved in that process?
Good question. Pretty much all the main platforms like Rarible, Mintable, anything on Ethereum, for example, or Matic, it's all kind of the same process. What you need to do, like I was saying before, the blockchain is like the ecosystem is the country, right? And if you're in the US and that's the equivalent to Solana, then the dollar is the equivalent to Sol coin, right? So you need some currency interact within this ecosystem. So if you move to another country or another ecosystem like Ethereum, same thing. You'd need to have Ethereum in an Ethereum compatible wallet. You would go to OpenSea or any of the NFT marketplaces on Ethereum and you do the exact same process. All you need is your MP3 or your WAV file, your cover art, your description. You'd set up a profile. You'd just do it with an Ethereum wallet and Ethereum. But obviously, guys, bear in mind, Ethereum has ridiculous gas fees. Leanne Dommer says, Tatiana's music is amazing. Tat Soho Lights is the best. Thank you, Leanne. Appreciate that. Thanks for the love.
Oh my gosh. And another follow-up question for that is specifically talking about gas fees, because I know you had mentioned Solana, and Solana is, you know, has been getting a lot of attention for its very low gas fees and, you know, quick transactions. So I guess, you know, if you wanted to, you know, what do you think about the, you know, coming Ethereum upgrade and how that's supposed to make gas fees lower and transactions faster? How do you think that might kind of change the NFT minting process? Or do you think that Solana is going to stick around and be the ideal blockchain for this?
That's it now. Okay, so
it's kind of a loaded question, but
no,
yeah.
I've been talking about this a fair bit on lives. The big thing that I think a lot of people don't talk about enough is immutability. This is the whole point of non-fungible tokens, how I was saying that you can't replicate the token. You can't replicate the token if it is securely minted on a secure blockchain where people can't hack it or fuck with it or change it, right? That's the whole point. Blockchain is quite secure. So Solana, something that happened, so there's two things to consider with Solana. Number one is how scalable is it really? It's very fast and it's very cheap now. But if millions of people were using Solana, is it that scalable? So to me, is it the future? And actually, when you expand to a certain rate, Solana faces similar problems to Ethereum at a certain point of use. So you're like, is it the blockchain of the future? Well, that's where that question comes in, right? The second thing is that Solana went down briefly in September, and it's been having pauses. Now, when it went down and everyone was like, whoa, Solana went down, that's normal. Blockchains can go down. They can sort of pause. But what happened is that Solana restored from a snapshot, which means they didn't actually restore from their Genesis block, like the very beginning of Solana, which means there was information that got lost. So if you're going to be minting on something now, it's great that it happened early with Solana because it's something they can then fix and work on. But these are the things when you really look at the fundamentals of blockchain, when you really look at the chains and how they work, and you ask yourself the question, will this be around? It's less about people using it and it has low gas fees and it's fast. And it's more like the underlying tech, can it sustain and will it stand the test of time? So sorry to get super nerdy on you, but
that's a good lesson there that we always talk about is do your own research and actually understand, if you hear that a project has fast, fast transaction fees and low or transaction, speed and low gas fees, you know what I'm trying to say. Maybe there's something up with them that you don't understand necessarily with like the tech behind it. So yeah.
But even it's so interesting because even this is something that people building on Solana don't consider and aren't really fully aware of. So it's not, it's something that Solana continues to develop, but Ethereum has nailed so far. They are the most immutable blockchain so far. So they are the most secure for putting your NFTs on. They're the most road tested, but they're the most expensive. They're clunky as fuck. Yeah. And so if they move to ETH 2.0, then yes, that would solve a tremendous amount of shit. But 2.0 would also have to be strong and maintained. There are other platforms like Elrond, which I love, which have adaptive state sharding, which is actually highly scalable. So there's other tech and other blockchains coming out. So I don't think we see the end of which one necessarily could be the best, but I also don't think it's down to one. I think that having several blockchains, much like we have several different websites and search engines, having several that can actually work with each other is more where we're going, especially in 2022.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I know we were just talking about some of the blockchains that, might not be as ideal to mint on or what, you need to look out for before going ahead with something. But I guess, kind of in that same vein, what are some of the drawbacks of NFTs? If you have any specific ones, I mean, we talked about the benefits so far, but what can you think of when,
I think that it's funny. I think number one, the security and the tech is maturing. So right now you could mint an NFT. Like I said on Solana, what could happen? I'm not saying this would happen on Solana. I have a big bag of Solana. Hope Solana continues to go up and makes my bags bigger. But with that said, the tech is still maturing. So actually things can happen and, there can be drawbacks to that. We can't predict the future, but the tech is maturing. We're still very early days. So there could be some tech drawbacks as we go. Like when